Imagine discovering an ancient text forgotten for centuries that could completely change how we understand the history of Jesus and his family. Now imagine this text comes from the perspective of a man who grew up alongside Jesus, accompanied him on his journey, and shared an intimate relationship with him. You're about to learn about what's called the Gospel of Jesus' brother. But what exactly does this gospel say? And why is it so controversial? Stay with me until the end of this video to explore the mysteries, controversial revelations, and spiritual implications of this extraordinary text. You won't want to miss this journey. Who was Jesus' brother? Before diving into the details of the gospel, we need to understand who Jesus' brother was. According to the canonical Gospels, Jesus had brothers and sisters. The most prominent among them is James, known as James the Just. He was a central figure in the early church and, according to historical accounts, led the Christian community in Jerusalem after Jesus' resurrection. James was seen as a devout man, a model of moral righteousness and faith. Some considered him so holy that he was called the Just. But there is heated debate about the nature of his relationship with Jesus. Was he literally a biological brother, a half-brother, or just a close relative? The answer varies depending on the Christian tradition you follow. The Gospel of James, a lost text? Although there isn't an official document called the Gospel of Jesus' brother, there are texts attributed to him that shed light on his worldview. One of the most well-known is the Proto-Evangelium of James, which focuses primarily on the life of the Virgin Mary and the birth of Jesus. However, other fragments and traditions suggest that James had his own message about faith and the kingdom of God. These texts offer a unique perspective on Jesus, seen through the eyes of someone who grew up alongside him. They describe not only his divine mission, but also the challenges and tensions of his earthly family. Imagine what it would be like to live in the shadow of the Son of God. How would one reconcile the fact that their older brother was also the Messiah? Revelations and controversies. One of the most impactful passages attributed to James emphasizes social justice and living faith. In the book of James, included in the New Testament, he declares, "Faith without works is dead." This has sparked debates over the centuries, especially during the Protestant Reformation, when Martin Luther questioned the inclusion of this book in the Bible. James also seems to highlight a deeply human Jesus. He speaks of compassion, serving the poor, and living an upright life. This intimate view complements the accounts of the canonical Gospels, offering a more personal and relatable dimension of Jesus. Why were these texts marginalized? Throughout history, many writings attributed to important figures of the early church were dismissed or labeled apocryphal. This may have happened for political reasons, theological disputes, or because they didn't align with the church's official doctrine. In James's case, his close relationship with Jesus and his central role in the early church made him a respected yet controversial figure. His focus on works and social justice might have been seen as a threat to the exclusive emphasis on divine grace promoted by other leaders. The writings of James and their context. The writings attributed to James reveal a man deeply committed to transforming society through the practice of faith. He not only taught, but also lived what he preached. The early church, under his leadership, was known for its care for the poor, orphans, and widows, following Jesus' example. James was also a conciliator. In the Acts of the Apostles, we see how he played a crucial role in the Council of Jerusalem, helping to resolve disputes between Jews and Gentiles about Christian practices. His ability to build bridges and promote unity was essential to the growth of Christianity in its early centuries. The teachings of James continue to resonate today. His emphasis on a living faith, expressed through good works, challenges us to reflect on how we are living out our spirituality. In a world marked by inequalities, his call for social justice and solidarity is more relevant than ever. James reminds us that Christian faith is not just a matter of personal belief, but also of collective action. He invites us to build more just and compassionate communities where everyone can tangibly experience God's love. Other apocryphal texts attributed to James in addition to the Proto-Evangelium and the Epistle of James. There are other apocryphal texts that mention his name. Some of these writings were discovered in collections like the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Nag Hammadi Library. Although many are fragmentary or of dubious authorship, they offer fascinating glimpses into the diversity of thought within early Christianity. One example is the Gospel of James, found in Nag Hammadi, which presents a mystical and symbolic view of Jesus and his message. These texts often explore themes such as the relationship between the human and the divine, the search for wisdom, and the Church's role in transforming the world. The tensions between James and Paul. An intriguing aspect of James's story is his relationship with the Apostle Paul. Although both were significant leaders in the early church, there were substantial differences in their approaches. Paul emphasized salvation by grace through faith, while James highlighted the importance of good works as evidence of authentic faith. These theological differences were not merely academic. They reflected different approaches to practical issues, such as the inclusion of Gentiles in the church and the observance of Jewish traditions. However, it's important to note that despite these tensions, both shared the same goal: to expand the reach of the gospel and testify to God's love in the world. The martyrdom of James and his legacy. James the Just met a tragic end. According to ancient historians like Josephus and Eusebius, he was martyred in Jerusalem for his faith. His death was a powerful testimony to his dedication to Christ and his leadership in the early church. His legacy, however, endures to this day. He is remembered as an example of living faith, courageous leadership, and commitment to justice. His life and writings continue to inspire Christians worldwide, challenging us to live our faith authentically and transformatively. What can we learn from James? The Gospel of Jesus' brother may not be an official document, but the writings and traditions associated with James offer valuable insights into the Christian faith. They remind us of the importance of spirituality that unites belief and action, of a life dedicated to God and others. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And of course, check out the video appearing on your screen now to continue your journey of discoveries about the Bible and its mysteries. See you next time.